Joining me now, Ross McElroy, President and CEO at Apollo Silver. Always great to see you. We saw each other at Beaver Creek.
We did indeed, Mark.
Yeah.
It's good to see you today.
So let's get a little update on the company's world-class projects. You've got one in California, Calico, and then the one in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo. And let's start with a brief overview of Calico. You've got a resource estimate on it now, 182 million ounces, most of that in the indicated category.
In fact, most of it in the measured category. So you're right, 125 million ounces of silver at Calico, primarily measured and indicated as well. So
That's what I wrote down, measured and indicated.
There we go.
Yeah.
So and another 57.5 million ounces of inferred. So, as a global number, you're talking north of 180 million ounces or so. What's different about this mineral resource estimate that we published is that we're now including barite in the resource, and zinc, and there was gold last time too in the previous resource estimate, but we more than almost doubled the gold content. We also feel that there's a lot of room for expansion at gold. So having critical minerals, barite and zinc in there, I think make a substantial difference. So we've increased silver. A lot of that is, well, really it's all due to the price of silver and being able to lower the cutoff grade to bring in more resource.
And then with Cinco de Mayo, the previous owner lost its social license. And we talked last time about how Apollo Silver is endeavoring to get their social license. So where does that stand?
Yeah, pretty good. I think when we last were talking at Beaver Creek, I had just come from a visit down in Mexico in Chihuahua, where we had met with the executive of the ejido. They're basically the landowners, the farmers that have the surface rights on top of the deposit. That was a very encouraging meeting because, at the end of the day, we feel that we're sort of working on, well, it's definitely a positive arrangement. We want to get to a point where we have a formal access agreement with them, and the discussions are ongoing. I think the process is in place. We know that they want to have a formal agreement that's life of project in length, something that's going to give them obviously some cash benefits along the way, job security and service, opportunities there too. So I think now's the right time. They're interested in it. The economy's begging for something like Cinco de Mayo to be developed, and they seem to like the team that we put together and our approach to discussion. So we're confident that we'll be able to move forward at Cinco.
On the financial side, the company recently raised $25 million in a non-brokered private placement. How would you describe demand for that, and how will you allocate it, and also the overall perception of the company, do you think, like related to that demand for the offering?
Yeah, well, demand was exceptional. We had to cut back, which is always a good thing in this business. So we feel with the total that we raised, just over, by the time the second tranche closed, we were about $26.5 million. Okay. So we're definitely well funded. That gives us runway at least the next 2 years, no matter, being very aggressive at Calico in California, and assuming that we're going to be active at Cinco de Mayo in Mexico as well. We're definitely well financed. The other side there too is that previous warrants, or I guess warrants from previous financing, are all pretty close to being in the money too. They'll expire next summer, but if we have good performance in the share price, and we expect those to be cashed in, and that could bring an additional almost $30 million. So I think the treasury is looking really good for us. There's no reason that we won't be aggressive going forward. We've got the projects of merit, and now the funds to be able to do so.
Great. Sounds like you're set for a while. Now, you also did a share consolidation, 5-for-1. Why was that important to get that done?
Yeah, so I think that was good. I think, really the benefit for us is obviously having a higher share price attracts a different type of investor. You end up at higher share prices, you end up with a little bit more institutional interest in there. That's sort of step one in the equation. I also think there's an opportunity here for Apollo to be able to list on the TSX senior board, and so these things are all part and parcel of the same process. So we're wanted to get share price up, attract high quality investors into the story, and be able to evolve into a bigger entity on the exchange.
All right, makes sense. Lastly, here, Ross, so we know that silver recently went over 50, finally got to around 52 or so, pulled back 46, 47. So what's your view of the silver market and how your company fits into the landscape?
I don't think I could be more bullish on the silver sector overall. Yeah, I think it's probably expected and even healthy to have a pullback that we had off of the highs of 52 and change. But if you believe all the prognosticators of silver prices and charts and everything, there's no reason to think that the silver price isn't going substantially higher. I certainly fall in that category of believing that we're at the beginning of a long sector bull in the silver market. That's going to bode well. We obviously have the resources, some significant silver assets within Apollo Silver. So I guess the timing for us is perfect. The momentum's there in the sector, in the market, in the company story. So, we're exactly where we should be, but we'll be extremely busy. 2026 is going to be a milestone year for us because this company is all of a sudden going to be active again at Calico, and I'm confident we'll be just as active in Mexico.
All right, lots to look forward to. Thanks, Ross.
You bet.
Very good. Ross McElroy, President and CEO of Apollo Silver.